Hey there. So we're out of the eclipse season now of spring 2024, and we have got our next full moon. It's a full moon in Scorpio later on today. You might have noticed that the sky is already really, really bright at night, and you might also have noticed that that kind of full moon feeling has been coming on. I've been feeling full moony for a day or two, I have to say. And, you know, the way I sort of feel about it is all of a sudden things start to feel just a little bit too full, a little bit too overwhelming, as if there's too much going on and I need a bit of peace and quiet. I don't know how it is that you experience it personally, but what I want to do in this video is just have a think, like look at the chart of the full moon in Scorpio and talk about the overriding themes. And then in the second part of this, I'm also going to bring in the most pertinent asteroids or centaurs or trans-Neptunian objects, whatever is linking into this chart. I'm going to talk about how they fit in as well, because I really like to use asteroids in particular, you know, with my moon forecast, but also at the start of seasons. I think using asteroids is a really, really great tool. It gives you so much more, I don't want to say control, not all astrologers like using them, but there's something really quite amazing when you have the plain birth chart, i.e. with all the planets of the solar system in, and then according to the unique situation that you might be using the chart, you might say, oh, okay, I want to know about love, and you put in all loads of different love asteroids, or you find the asteroid of the name of your lover, and so on and so forth. And so what I really like about, you know, doing these forecasts is they're bringing in a richer sort of context to the full moon. They bring in this extra meaning, and often the asteroids have their own little story. So I like to tune in and see what happens. So let's dive right in now and see what comes up, shall we? So before I go any further, I'm just trying to manage my screen. I just want to say thank you to everyone that supports this channel and all my shows. I really, really appreciate you for your generous and kind donations. They make a massive difference to my life. They really, I would say, cheer me up. I mean, they don't cheer me up because I'm pretty upbeat at the moment. But yeah, it's nice to feel appreciated. So thank you so much. You make a difference. Okay, so this is the full moon in Scorpio then that's happening now according to where you are in the world. For me, it's going to be on the 24th, which is early tomorrow morning at 49 minutes past midnight. That's UK time, Portugal time for me. Now, I'm guessing a lot of people listening to me, I know most of my viewers are in the States, so the 23rd is where it is for you. I absolutely recommend going to timeanddate.com, because if you look under, I think it's sun and moon on their tabs, and go all the way down to moon phases, it will tell you exactly what time the full moon occurs at in your time zone. It's a really, really great little resource there. The full moon is happening at 4 degrees 18 in the sign of Scorpio. What is a full moon? It's basically when the moon shows up in the astrological opposition to the sun, according to the ecliptic that we use, the zodiac, the zodiacal ecliptic that many of us use. So the sun is at 4 degrees 18 in the sign of Taurus, and the moon is at 4:18 in the sign of Scorpio. Now, with these oppositions, it's always highlighting a particular quality of star signs. So for instance, you know, we've got cardinal signs, mutable signs, and fixed signs. Now, both Taurus and Scorpio are fixed signs. Now, the fixed signs are synonymous with digging your heels in and slowing down, and it takes a little bit longer for fixed signs to process energy, to process information. They like to take their time. They like to mull it over. They don't like to be rushed. They really don't like to be rushed. And in fact, especially with the Taurus and Scorpio energy, if anyone tries to rush you, you actually kind of stop dead in your tracks and you like stubbornly refuse to move. So there is an element of this energy going on right now. And the full moon with the moon and the sun in opposition is also pulling us to our maximum in our ability to cope with situations, in particular with deep change. So with this one, like if we think the last full moon was in the sign of Libra and in opposition to Aries. These are both cardinal signs. The cardinal signs are the go-getters. They're the ones that want to initiate things, that want to start things, that want to get things moving. The one before that was in Virgo and the sun was in Pisces. They're mutable signs. Mutable signs are changeable. So they go with the flow a little bit more. So I think full moons are so much easier in these mutable and cardinal signs. And in the fixed signs, they're more of a challenge because the full moon, by its very nature, is pulling at different parts of us. So if you think the sun is really representative of your personal expression, it's really showing how you are wanting to express yourself, how you think of yourself as an individual. Are you being very adult right now? Are you being assertive? It's very much the you that people get to see, I would say. The moon is a lot more private and it's not so rational. It's quite irrational, in fact. The moon really shows our sensitivity, our intuition, our psyche. It also represents that childlike part of us, maybe the side of us that's not as responsible and not as grown up. And maybe it's that side of us that sometimes crumbles under pressure. And so if you think you've got these two archetypes within us, and obviously I actually think a personality is so much more complicated than that, more complex. But if you think, your basic personality and then that private hidden world of you are being pulled apart as they are in an opposition, they're pulled to the max, almost like you're about to fire some rubber bands or elastic bands across the room. You like pull them really, really as tight as they can before they go ping. It's that kind of ping energy that I really notice with the full moon. People lose their temper, they lose their rag, they get really irritated because all of a sudden their life has got too full and they don't know what to do with it. Whereas in a cardinal sign, people might explode. Not literally, hopefully, but they think, right, I'm going to make a change. And they go, pow, pow, pow. And all of a sudden, there is this like dynamic movement. And, the mutable signs, so Sagittarius, Gemini, Pisces, and Virgo, they'll say, oh, this is too much. Let's flex this way. And so they do a little sidestep with this potential. In these fixed signs, it feels like there is nowhere to run. And also you don't want to run. You want to face it down and slowly, calmly consider your options. Now, also, we should add that sign of Scorpio is also very, out of the three water signs, I would say it's the one that doesn't like being pushed around. And in order, I would say Scorpio hates being pushed around. Cancer will resent you pushing them around, and they might do something about it, but they might just go off and find something else to amuse themselves with. And Pisces will just be out of there, So the Scorpio energy, in particular, is highly, highly emotional. In this position, if you know anyone and love anyone, my husband's got moon in Scorpio. Actually, I've just realized this full moon is right over his moon. Anyway, that aside, if you know somebody with their moon in Scorpio, you'll know that they feel things really, really strongly. And that when things overwhelm them, they sometimes go into themselves and also get highly stubborn, have very strong needs, very much related to breaking points. Like, they'll get overwhelmed. And if they get that snap point, all of a sudden you'll know about it. The reputation of the Scorpio energy is very much, they'll kind of shoot you a little sting if you get too close when they're feeling threatened. Really, what's going on right now is Scorpio people, Scorpio ascendants, Scorpio moons in particular, will be really, really feeling this. But, ultimately, this full moon is happening in this sign for everybody. So we might all be feeling like this. We might all be feeling a little bit overwhelmed, unsure about how we're going to process this energy. And also a bit like we're ready to have a fight with anyone that pushes us just that little bit over the edge. So my first real bit of advice is give yourself space, give your partner space. And if you see that somebody is a little bit overwhelmed, just, kind of step into some peace with them if you can, or find yourself in a peaceful place so that you can lead. I really do think that the people that we live closely with, we have a symbiosis of energy. If you've been in a whirlwind of energetics, and if you've been, especially with this Jupiter and Uranus conjunction, for people who are quite high vibe, high frequency, and especially if you're going through changes right now, your energy is most likely going woo, like you're spinning some kind of, I can't remember what they're called. And maybe this is if you grew up in the 70s and people don't have proper toys, but it was like some spinning wheels on an elastic, and you pulled the elastic and the wheels spun really, really quickly. Anyway, I've just lost all the millennials there, but forgive me. But it's like things are spinning really fast. So if you're feeling absolutely dizzy and this is coming on, absolutely give yourself space and notice if the people around you are feeling it, and just suggest that you have some time out. If you've got things planned, unplan them if you can, and go easy on yourself, towards the rest of this week. These are really highly charged times. This is the coming to the end of this very, very highly charged month. We all need a flipping break, right? So yeah, this is this is one where we need some rest, some really good rest and recuperation. Now, I've listed the main aspects that I see going on. I've highlighted the Jupiter conjunction Uranus because it is a slow moving aspect. It's the slowest moving aspect of this piece, and it's the most unusual, and its energy is going to be felt for a lot longer. So I've kept that in there. It is not over. It's not a done in one moment kind of thing. This is going on for some time. I've also put in that we've got the full moon is square Pluto. Now, at the time of the Uranus conjunction a couple of days ago, Pluto was in an exact square with the sun. It's still in its square with the sun, and it's in an exact, it's in a square, a fairly tight square with the moon. So yeah, I mean, these are really challenging full moons when we've got a square or an opposition to Pluto, because, Pluto really shows us where control and being in charge and feeling like there's nothing unexpected about to drop. Like when Pluto is in a very sort of tense part in a chart, the need to have utter control of things becomes really, really important. And it also becomes a real sticking point, because when Pluto digs his heels in, things can get really nuclear, I would say. And I realize as I say that, I'm not trying to sow any seeds of big disasters. I don't want to talk of that and add to the collective voice there, but this is a sort of massive blow up energy, as is Uranus and Jupiter together as well. So having all of having this in this full moon position and this going on is really quite volatile, I should say. And it's deep acting, so it's creating an impetus, it's creating a desire to do something, it's creating some momentum. Now, let's not forget, if we think of the sign of Scorpio, it's ruled by both Mars and Pluto. So Mars and Pluto also feed into the energy of how the moon is expressing itself. So not only is this moon tired, exhausted, it's on its last straw. It's on its last nerve. You don't want to be like the straw that breaks the camel's back. It really does feel like we're, oh my God, just leave me alone. And then Pluto's in a square with it. That's short tempers, sarcasm, kind of slightly off humor, and comments, to kind of move people away. You're probably, given also that Mercury's retrograde in the sign of Aries, and of course Aries is ruled by Mars, so there's this definite strong Mars theme going on. But when Mars and Scorpio people do get under-resourced, and also when Mercury's going retrograde in, say, Aries or Scorpio, the first thing that I think happens, rather than a really nasty shot of scorpion poison, it would be these little sharp barbed comments. So I would absolutely watch out for that. Watch your tongue. And if someone does that to you, recognize we're all under pressure. You don't have to accept it. And I would also advise that you don't take it personally. People are slightly tired right now. They're not able to listen to themselves fully. They're not able to completely take in the situation, because it just feels like it's almost like something is big around us, is pressing into us. And it's like, wow, I'm not sure I can quite cope with, this whizzy and strong energy. So it's worth bearing that in mind. Mercury is retrograde for another couple of days, and then it's going to go direct again. But it takes this good, sweet time to really come out of the Mercury shadow, the retrograde shadow. So, we're still in this kind of slightly confusing time as well. The full moon is also in a sextile to Juno. Now, I like this. I think this is supportive. Juno does have a bit of a bad rep. She's a bit of she's a little bit too sensuous at times. She's reputed to be an indication of an affair, or slightly extracurricular, romantic, sensuous, sexual partner. But I also see her as an indication of partnership, of higher commitment, deeper commitment, us not letting go, us being absolutely committed to something. So seeing Juno in Virgo, she's very, very committed to being of service. She's absolutely wanting to help. She's really wanting to assist. And what she really does, I think, is confer a sense of commitment, and we're in this together. So, I absolutely recognize that even if you are feeling tired and under-resourced, we are in this together. I really feel that there is support around you, and all the time you think you're on your own, and you don't consider that other people might also be suffering with you, or might just be a bit stressed with you, or a bit overwhelmed with you. You're missing the potential to get help. The moment you open up and you don't have it all on your shoulders on your own is when the help arrives, because someone says, man, I'm glad you said that. I feel exactly the same. Now let's just go for a walk, or let's just do something. Let's blow off steam somehow, so help is there. Similarly, the full moon is in a trine to Vesta. Now I see Vesta as being very, very helpful as well. Vesta is, she absolutely represents our instinctive knowing, our instinctive truth. She represents our ability to tap into what is really, really true for us. And in the sign of Cancer, she really knows what's true for us in terms of what we need to nurture ourselves. She's really good at helping us see what we need to self-nurture, and really like mother or father ourselves. We need to parent ourselves right now. And so in this lovely trine to the full moon, there is this energy that's saying, look, if you get still enough, and if you can center yourself for a moment and just ask your body, what do you need right now? What would you really like? Like, ask your body. And I know this sounds really kind of mental, but if you could sit with yourself right now and say, wow, if there was some food or drink right now that I could offer you, body of mine, what would you really like? What would nourish and support you right now? And you might ask, what color is going to support me right now, and comfort me right now? What music do I need? Like, literally really ask into your body, because the moment you're feeding your body, and nurturing your body, and really listening to your body, you'll get back into that feeling of calm. And when you're in your body, you start to feel a bit more resourceful. You know, right now, what I'm really been describing so far with this Jupiter and Uranus, and then this square to the moon and square to the sun, you know, it feels like there's so much that we're in our headspace, and it feels like too much, and we can't really sense how to deal with it. But the moment we go into our body and just breathe into our body, and we relax into our body, and we listen to our body, even if it is just to put on, you know, your body might just say, wrap me up, and you get a beautiful rug, and you wrap yourself up, you sit outside, you watch the sun go down, I don't know, but you do something for your body that your body will love. You'll feel so much more relaxed. And in that relaxation, I think, comes these little flashes of insight and brain waves as to what you might need to do in your next step. So I really think that both Juno and Vesta are saying, don't give up on yourself. Don't think, it's all going the wrong way. Just go deeper into yourself, but like via your body. Then the next thing that I think is, well, we've got these two very powerful stelliums. And I know I spoke about these in the April update, but I just want to refresh myself on these, because it feels like about 3 months ago that I recorded that, and it was only 2 weeks ago. That's how crazy these times are. So the first one is this very, very powerful stellium between Saturn, Mars, and also Neptune. Now, you know, I've mentioned in recent videos about benefics, you know, like the power of Venus and Jupiter. And there's also planets known as malefics. And the two malefics really are Mars and Saturn. They're seen as the bad boys. They're seen as the ones that maybe create the hard times, that get us all tense and irritated and upset. Now, I think, you know, Neptune, when Neptune is positively aspected, can really bring about some really beautiful things, you know, like gorgeous creativity and a connection to your deepest desires, and this lovely flowing feeling of oneness. I mean, that's great. But Neptune can also create a sense of confusion if it's badly aspected at that time, or if you've got it highlighted in your chart in a bit of a stressful way. But Neptune can sometimes make us want to escape. You know, it creates this feeling of, I need to forget who I am. I need to pass out almost. That would be preferable to facing, you know, almost like an ostrich puts their head in the sand. And I don't actually know if they actually do that, or whether that's just been, is that an actual fable, or is that true? Tell me, please. But, you know, it's almost like we want to ostrich ourselves and put our head in the sands and just wait for it all to blow over. But, you know, Neptune, I think, in this position, in this connection with Mars and Saturn, is a bit like a bad boy as well. So you've got these three male planets, all in the sign of Pisces, which doesn't really make these two very strong, although Neptune's very happy in Pisces. And, you know, these are, as far as I can see, the energy of Mars and Saturn is really encouraging us to dig deep and to access a deeper sense of discipline, which doesn't sound very glamorous, but actually it's quite useful energy. It can really help us push on. And it could actually be discipline to use our spiritual gifts as represented by Neptune. It could be the discipline to be creative, the discipline to be flexible, the discipline to be spiritual. You know, all of that could really, really be emphasized. It could also be, I need to stay alive, I need to survive. And Neptune in this instance could be a little bit deceptive, you know. So, you know, I can see the possible benefits of this stellium right now. And I can also see that for those people for whom they prefer to deceive, it's just got a bit easier for them because, you know, they've got the discipline to do that. So be very cautious if you're signing up for anything that appears to be too good to be true, or if you're unsure about something. If something in your body is saying, whoa, that's a red flag, check it out. Like, get really, really clear about everything. Make sure that you listen to Vesta, because Vesta's got your back. And right now, these three, like these two guys here, Saturn and Mars, could really if you're under-resourced and you feel like your back's against the wall, you could sort of bend on what you consider to be your moral code of conduct, or you might not see that somebody else is doing that. So I think that is something for us to watch out for. We just need to be a little bit aware of what's going on just outside of us. Now, we've also got this stellium with the North Node, Mercury, Chiron and Venus in Aries. Now, we've spoken a lot about the North Node, Mercury and Chiron. I really do like the fact that Venus and Chiron are together, because to me, that's really saying, all the healing work and considerations that are already underway that have been going on this year. Now you're getting to a stage where you can totally forgive yourself and forgive others. It's almost like you're realizing there's nothing to forgive. We are all adults, most likely watching this, should be. We all make mistakes. We're all like dumb humans, big silly humans that are actually being run from our childlike self based on all our hurts and wounds from childhood that we've not managed to get through. So very, very few of us are actually performing on a consistent day-to-day basis from being an actual adult. Very few of us. I doubt I am. I'm really sure I'm not. So this is a lovely time with this Chiron and Venus energy. It's really encouraging us to forgive and really, really forgive ourselves, like be really deep in our acknowledgement that, we can let ourselves go. We can let ourselves off the hook. Maybe we don't need to be so perfect. Maybe actually accepting that we're flawed is actually the key to moving beyond where we are. So I love this. And, Mercury retrograde is almost at the end. And so again, we need to ask ourselves, Mercury's gone retrograde, through over, he's gone over Chiron and the North Node and then retrograded back over Chiron. Mercury has been taking us on this healing journey much deeper and unwinding our thoughts, unwinding our what we already knew about a situation. We've come back and said, maybe we didn't have a clear picture, and more things are being revealed to us. This is a chance for us to really reset with a lot more sort of honesty, and we can be honest with ourselves. So I just see this as a lovely point in time where we can really forgive. So this is interesting. So we've got this idea that we can move beyond where we've been stuck, and forgive ourselves for not knowing that we were stuck, and forgive ourselves for getting stuck, and forgive ourselves if we don't even make a move forwards that fast. We can just be, and a good friend wrote this to me in an email just earlier today, just be gentle, gentle, gentle. We can just absolutely be the essence of gentleness with ourselves. And at the same time, there's another strategy playing out, which could see people kind of cheating the system a little bit, saying, I haven't got time to be this gentle. I haven't got time to forgive. What's the point? Everyone's doomed, so there is this, I think, out for everything we can get. I'm hopeful actually that, with this Uranus and Jupiter conjunction, that more people are going into this. Let's forgive. Let's find another way to communicate. Let's find another way to transact with each other. We don't need to go to war with people anymore. There are other ways. And like I said, we could be very disciplined in spirituality. We could really dream something miraculous and have the patience and determination to move towards it. So yeah, there's a lot of potentials here. Really, really, truly. Let's now have a quick look with the asteroids and centaurs. So we've got 3 centaurs. So we've got Elatus, we've got Amycus, and we've also got Orius. These are all centaurs. And we've got this asteroid here called Kassandra. So I'm going to talk about them. There's Elatus is the one that's most closely connected to the full moon. It's in a conjunction with the full moon, in quite a tight conjunction. And Elatus in mythology has the incredible ability to avoid trouble. So he's known as dodging a bullet, but he's also quite expressive. He's also quite proud to be himself. So there are a few different stories surrounding Elatus, and one of them is kind of, you know, how proud he is and how he's always shows up at just the right time to get all the praises and then step out of the limelight when there's any trouble. You know, now that's kind of interesting. I think we all know people like that who almost do well, not because of themselves, but because of their unswerving confidence to be themselves, even if it's not quite deserved. And also that how they avoid trouble, you know, these people that just kind of flake in and flake out, you know. But anyway, Elatus is there with the moon. How can we use this information? You know, what might this also be saying to us? Well, I mean, in fact, let's come back to this because I want to see how it's going to relate to these three, because these three are in a conjunction with Pluto now. So if we explore a bit further, the next closest thing to, actually not the next closest, Amycus is actually here in between Kassandra and Orius. Amycus is, not a very nice character in terms of the centaurs. It's very much about using your raw power. It's very much about power plays. Amycus has kind of wreaked a hellish vengeance and a violence, is kind of sexual and strong in the charts of cruel and powerful people. And it's very much about using power against other people, power against others. So this is interesting. We've also got Orius, which is about tuned into the collective needs, creating tools that help people. That's nice. And Kassandra is absolutely, I see Kassandra as being a very sort of good and faithful asteroid. You know, she was somebody who just didn't believe in herself. You know, she could see things. She had the gift of prophecy. She could see what was coming. And when she told everyone what was coming, nobody believed her and said, shut up, Kassandra. What are you yabbing on again about your conspiracies? She's like the modern day conspiracy theorist who saw things and spoke up about it, but nobody would listen to her. And actually she got kidnapped and had a really hard time of it. Kassandra, if anything, is a message for us to believe in ourselves. And also, if we do see something that maybe appears a bit too ahead for other people to see and cotton on to, I see Kassandra as saying, we need to transform this. You know, we need to believe what we see. We need to have the confidence to test and research what we see. If we see something that's not quite right, I mean, she's essentially a whistleblower who basically came to a rotten end. But that's not to say that that's how it should be for all whistleblowers. You know, she's in a conjunction with Pluto. Now, one of the things with Pluto is Pluto can show what happens when power gets out of hand. Pluto can show what happens when power is abused, but it can also show us how we are our own blockage to power. You know, like when we want something to happen a certain way, that's when Pluto digs in his heels and says, hang on, I'm in charge, you're not in charge. Like you need to be a bit more humble. So actually coming into your power and claiming your power isn't about stamping it and forcing it. You know, the actual Pluto way in the chart to make it work for you best, my experience is to know what you're about, and to stand, but not stand in such a way that creates difficulty for everyone else. If you're trying to change everyone else's reality, it kind of rubs the Pluto energy up the wrong way. Anything where you're doing something or involved in pushing or laying something on people, it's very, very hard to do. And it kind of really brings up a Pluto resistance. So, you know, if you really respond to the Kassandra figure here, I would use the Pluto energy to transform your feelings about it. You know, how could you feel powerful in yourself? How might you reach more people? You know, if the usual way of being Kassandra is to say, look, I see this is what's happening. It's hilarious that I'm saying this as an astrologer. Saying, oh, look what's happening. Look what I'm seeing. if you are a Cassandra type person, if you recognize yourself as a Cassandra type person, what I'm saying here or sharing here is that if you say, hey, this is what's going on, I know it, I've seen it, and I'm giving you the evidence, you're unlikely to change anyone because it's related so closely to Pluto here. No one's going to listen. They're going to say, yeah, well, I've also got my ideas too. Maybe if Cassandra had just been available to chat with people and had conversations with people without actually sharing what she thought, she would have created a space for people to ask and be curious. One thing Cassandra can do is talk to people who are already in the same belief patterns, and there she can be strong. But if you're trying to force anyone to listen to something, it becomes very, very painful. So believe in yourself, and also believe that if you create space, the right people will be kind of magnetized towards you. Pluto is a very magnetic character. Pluto creates allure, attraction, and all sorts of things. Pluto is abundant. Pluto basically has everything below ground. He's the king of the underworld. Everything comes to him eventually. And he has the confidence to do that. And I think when you have the confidence and then you're not seen taking too much action, people come to you. So you're creating a much more attractive front for people to then say, hey, I really love what you're doing. So I would absolutely say if you're a Cassandra type, you're better off waiting for people to ask you for that information. Just create that space and create that unstoppable feeling of confidence in yourself, so it radiates out. People will see you're confident and want to know what's going on. So I really think that energy is really coming into this full moon. And so you may well at the time of this full moon be feeling like you've had all these big shifts and changes and nobody's listening to you and how difficult it is, and you really have my empathy on that. That's a tough position to be in. Now, Amycus is also here. And so you may actually have information about hellish violence, sexual stuff. You might have information about cruel people or the power of corruption and what raw power does and how raw power is played out. Orius is also here, talking about the collective needs of the people and creating tools that help people. So I wonder if in this next couple of weeks, because these full moons and then new moons, I really think that their energy really persists for that kind of 2-week cycle, and then we start a new cycle. This is a cycle where things are going to come out. These withdrawing moons, it's just got big, and then after the full moon it's going to wane, and then I think during that time, that's when things get tightened up. We start to look at the facts. We start to dig deep. I think there may well be a lot of information that's about to emerge, maybe about the tools that the collective needs, tools that are there to help people, and also that they might not actually help people. So we may well hear a lot of news in the coming weeks about things that have been put in to help the collective that actually are just creating more raw power that cruel and powerful people are using against others. It might be that there's also lots of great people out there who are aware of things maybe not being quite as they seem, who are now tuning into the collective needs and designing really, really powerful tools to help humanity, because there have been lots of cruel and powerful people playing out their games too. So to me, it feels like whatever's going on right now is coming to, I would love to say it's coming to an end, but I don't think anything comes to an end, because, we are evolving all the time. We're on these continuous cycles. But to me, it feels like we're coming to the end of a story where maybe some, like in the last chapter where a few things get revealed and you're like, oh my God, I didn't see that coming. Wow. I think we might have some information like this coming out that could shake us. And, this is at a time when this full moon is kind of unshakable in a fixed sign. Now, if we go back to Elatus, we might, this makes more sense to me now, because, we might feel like this information is coming out. There's this new sense of information, a new sense of stuff coming up, almost like, when you've got a boil and there's this like pus underneath and it's coming up. It feels to me like things are coming out from the darkness so that we can see them in the full light of the day or in the light of the full moon. And we get this sense of, wow, we've dodged a bullet. Humanity has had this incredible ability to avoid the trouble. Lots of things have been brewing against us, possibly. That might be your viewpoint. It might not. And so there may be this sense of, wow, we were very lucky there. We could have gone down this particular path, or we see the path that we're going down. And just as we're on the path, we're thinking, okay, it's time to retreat. So I think that's how these asteroids may well be playing out with us. So again, Kassandra, if you recognize yourself as a Kassandra, how can you make your information more attractive? It is to come into yourself and develop on your power, like make yourself feel as confident and as nurtured and looked after as possible. If you are a modern day Kassandra, absolutely activate your modern day Vesta. Look after yourself, sit in your body, ask your body, what do you need right now to feel fabulous? And then Orius, you might, if you're an inventive person who absolutely wants to tune into the collective needs, again, tune into the power of Vesta and ask, body, what could I do right now? What would you like me to do? How could we be part of a solution right now? And you might find that the information of what you need to do isn't to be some glamorous hero of the day. Maybe the heroic thing right now is just to live the best and most honest way that you can, to survive, to thrive, and to really, really look after yourself and the people around you in your local vicinity. So, often the most important thing is for us to come back in ourselves. I think there has been this really big impetus in life to, and I think this has been sewn into the fabric of humanity via media, films and news and things like that we all have to be these heroes. We all have to somehow save the day. That the true heroes are the ones that come up with the amazing technology and who make these massive life-changing differences. But actually, I think the true heroes are the ones that get on and look after the people in their community, that look after each other, that are there to listen to each other, support each other, care for each other when we're down. They're the people that pop in when you're ill and help you in your recovery. They are the people that love you and care for you. And we are all heroes to each other. So if at this time of the full moon, you're feeling a bit bewildered and a bit overwhelmed, if you could recognize that when you come into your normal self, come into your, like when you almost drop the outside, if you could drop the outside persona that is having you thinking you need to stand up and do something, actually, as we all come back into ourselves, start looking into our bodies and what we need, and start helping each other on a person by person basis, that will turn things around so much faster than anything else. Because as we all care for each other and start to build trust and intimacy with each other, natural ideas are going to come up. And of course they are, because Uranus and Jupiter are in their wonderful conjunction. So there you go. I hope that's helpful to you. Sending you lots and lots of love right now. And please do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I know you do. And if you've loved this, please do share it. And if I can be of any help, then please do feel free to book a reading. My online diary is basically, you can book into my diary. Just click on the links below and we can meet up real soon. But anyway, lots of love to you. Take care and hopefully catch you another time. Bye for now.